We'll go 5 minutes this first round. Mr. Waxman, would you like to begin, please?
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I want to return to a point that I raised in my opening statement, and that was the question about a series of pressure tests performed on the well before the blowout took place. My understanding is that there are two types of pressure tests. A positive test involves adding fluids into the well to increase and to exert additional pressure. This tells the well operator whether fluids can flow from the well into the surrounding formations. A negative pressure test is the reverse. It removes some of that pressure in the well, creating an inward or upward force from the pressure differential. And that would be used to detect flow into the well through a breach in the cement or the casing. Both tests are important, and failure of either test can suggest a failure of the seals or the well's integrity. Mr. Newman, am I right in my understanding of the significance of these two tests?
Chairman Waxman, I would agree with your assessment that the successful performance of those tests is critical to understanding the condition and the integrity of the casing and cement, and a negative response, a negative outcome for either one of those tests would indicate that there are potential problems.
Mr. McKay and Mr. Probert, do you agree with that?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
Okay. I understand that the well passed positive pressure tests on the morning of April 20th, 2010, but I also understand that when negative pressure tests were performed later that day, starting around 5 p.m., there were anomalous results. Let's go back to the document entitled What We Know, which was put out by BP. It says, quote, after 16 and a half hour waiting on the cement, a test was performed on the wellbore below the blowout preventer, end quote. And then it says, during this test, 1,400 psi was observed on the drill pipe, while 0 psi was observed on the kill and the choke lines. Mr. Newman, can you explain what 1,400-pound discrepancy in the negative pressure test might signify and what its importance might be?
The indication of 1,400 psi on the drill pipe would indicate that there was pressure in the wellbore being registered on the pressure gauge attached to the drill pipe. The absence of pressure on the choke and kill line would indicate a discrepancy between the wellbore pressure being measured by the drill pipe and the annulus pressure being measured by the choke and kill line.
And what significance does that have?
The significance of the discrepancy between the two pressures would lead to a conclusion that there was something happening in the wellbore that shouldn't be happening.
Okay. And Mr. McKay and Mr. Probert, do you agree?
I think obviously difficult to speculate, but I do think that discrepancy is critical, and the investigation will have to tear that apart piece by piece. Absolutely.
Yeah. And Mr. Probert?
We don't have knowledge of the sort of mechanical.
I'm just asking if that explanation of a differential is accurate.
Yes, I would say so.
Okay. Now, Mr. McKay, Mr. Dupree from BP told us on Monday, he said the results were not satisfactory, and he said there were a possible warning that gas was seeping into the well and building up pressure inside the borehole. Mr. Dupree is your senior official responsible for operations in the Gulf of Mexico. Do you agree with his assessment?
Mr. Dupree has been working on the crisis 20 hours a day. I wasn't sitting in on the meeting that you're referring to, so I wasn't privy to that review. What I would say, 1,400 psi on the drill pipe and no psi on the choke and kill lines indicates something should be investigated. Absolutely.
Well, the anomalies in the pressure testing present a significant question that should be thoroughly investigated. Just hours before the explosion, tests on the well returned results that signaled a possible well failure and the influx of gas up the wall. Yet it appears that the companies did not suspend well operations, and now 11 workers are dead, and the Gulf Coast region faces catastrophic environmental damages. We need to know if that's the case and why it was the case. And it appears from Mr. Dupree's statements to our staff that that was the result of the test, as that was the negative test that was taken. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back my time.